Hi, hello, welcome back to VR Knowledge Center. And in this today's session, we'll talk about how to set up, Ansible on Ubuntu. So as we discussed in the earlier sessions, so Windows by default is not going to support to install Ansible, but you can install Ansible on Windows Subsystem Linux, WSL, using Ubuntu. Let's see like how we are going to install Ansible on Ubuntu. Okay, and as I said, Ansible is an open source configuration tool, a writing engine, which is basically using it for configuring applications. So configuration management systems are actually designed to streamline the process of controlling a large number of servers. Like if you wanted to deploy your, the application on different kind of machines with huge, remote machines, different configurations. So for administrators and operations team, it is very difficult to do manually. If we have a config kind of automated tool like Ansible, it is very easy to deploy, and also it is very easy to streamline the process of controlling a large number of servers. So they allow you to control many different systems in an automated way from one central location, right? And get into this PPT. If you look at this prerequisites to install Ansible on Ubuntu, so one Ansible control node is required. That is what the mission name called control mission. This control mission is an Ansible control mission, or Ansible control node is a mission we will use to come to different host missions or host servers using SSH. So it's kind of a secure shell protocol. We use it to connect remote missions securely. It's a network protocol basically. By sharing this common SSH key, it is going to provide communication. So Ansible control machine or node can either be your local machine or a server dedicated to running Ansible. Though this explanation is basically doing it on Ubuntu 20.04 version, make sure that control node has a non-root user with sudo privileges and an SSH key pair associated with this user. These are the prerequisites. So one thing is you must have a sudo privileges user, and another thing was SSH key pair, which can communicate with the remote machine. And second thing was one or more Ansible host, that is remote machines. Okay, so that means where you want to deploy this kind of application. So an Ansible host is any machine that your Ansible control node is configured to automate. So Ansible control node SSH public key added to the authorized keys of a system user. This user can be either root or a regular user with sudo privileges. Okay, so while there are many popular configuration management tools are available for Linux system like Puppet and Chef, why we are choosing this, Ansible? That's what the question may arise it from your mind. So even though we have a lot of management tools like Chef and Puppet, so these are often more complex than many people want to or need this Ansible. Ansible is a great alternative to these options because it offers an architecture that does not require any special kind of software to be installed on these machines or nodes. So it just uses SSH and SSH key, and then it executes the automation scripts tasks via AML files and doesn't require any kind of database or daemon service or any application which is running behind the Ansible, right? So this is a main reason of not going for other management tools like Puppet and Chef. Okay, so how to set up this? First step was Ansible must be installed when you have a root user, right? As I told you in the previous slide. So you need to install the Ansible software on the machine that will serve as an Ansible control node. So that is control machine. So we'll use the default Ubuntu repositories for that. First, to refresh your system packages index with the sudo apt update. Okay, application update. Let's go back to your system and open this Ubuntu. Right now, my machine is having Ubuntu as 20.04, and I'll have a sudo user as well, which basically having no super user privileges. Like it's a kind of no sudo is a kind of utility for Unix and Linux based systems that provides an efficient way to give specific user permissions to use specific system commands, like root commands. Okay, most powerful. Sudo also logs all commands and arguments, right? Okay, so as I told in the PPT, you must run this sudo application up to date. So if I run this sudo apt update, it is going to ask you the permission. That's fine, and it is going to update uh, up to date your Ubuntu application, and based on that, it is going to start installing of Ubuntu as soon as you type like install no Ansible, right? So it takes a couple of seconds, might be it's very quicker now because it's already having a latest one. So and then once it is done, I think the next command what we need to do is so sudo install Ansible. That is where it is installing Ansible software in this my Ubuntu system, and that is what the next command I have to use it here. It's taking some time. Yeah, that's it. It was done already. So when I say like uh, clear, it is going to clear. And now the command, another one was sudo apt install Ansible. This is the command we need to use it for installing Ansible. Let me check whether I have Ansible or not. First of all, in my system. So Ansible. So I think I have already installed Ansible, and as it is showing Ansible help text here, help helping description, help description here with all the existing commands here stuff like how to use these and Ansible options and the commands and arguments and stuff. So if you don't install it, it doesn't give this information, and in that situation you need to use sudo apt install Ansible. Then it is going to install Ansible on your control machine. So this is what the control machine, which is having Ansible right now with me. Okay. So now, going back to this PPT, once you install this, Ansible, your Ansible control node now has all software required to administer your host. Next, we'll go over how to set up an inventory file so that Ansible can communicate with your managed nodes, right? So how to set up inventory file? So as I told, inventory file is nothing but a file which is having all your remote host IP address details that Ansible is going to manage. You can include anywhere from 1 to several hundred servers in your inventory file, and hosts can be organized into groups and subgroups, right? The inventory file is also often used to set variables as well, so that it will share variables between your control machine and remote host. Okay, in order to be used within playbooks and templates, we have to create inventory file here. Some variables can also affect the way the playbook is running, like Ansible Python interpreter variable that we will see in more, right? Now, go back to your Ubuntu and let's look at this command ls. I think I have already created the inventory file here called development dot text. This is what the inventory file I've created. So let me explain you. Even I think you can open this development.txt. It is going to open you on Unix editor. And here, if you want, you can write, change the remote host here. Right now, I've just only given only one IP. This is what the web server IP I have. And I'll go and see here, IP config. I think this is what my IP address, hence I've only provided my IP address here. Even though I was in the different terminal, that is Ubuntu, and the machine IP was in the same, on the remote machine and the control machine, both are on the same machine here. Now, so I'm just coming So I'm just coming from back. Oh my God. Okay, let's clear this. So as I said, I have already inventory file. That is guy development.txt. So here what I did was I mentioned some variables. Ansible user was Ramana, and Ansible connection was SSH. Ansible shell type was PowerShell. These are the global variables that have been declared it, and I'm going to use these variables in the coming playbooks globally. And this is the group I created web server, and that way you can create a web server, DB server, and an interface server, an integration server, like that way you group it using this kind of syntax. And within these square brackets, you can mention the name. That way it is creating groups. And in this web server group, I have only one IP address right now. And let me run a command to find out like what it is actually having it, like Ansible inventory and minus I, that is my inventory file, the -, list. When I run this, it is going to list out you like what is the meta it is having, host variables high, and here the IP address was 192.168.0.67, and it is sharing these variables and Ansible and connection, Ansible hyphen shell type, Ansible hyphen user. These are the variables sharing between this host server and the control node here. And here the group was web server. This is only one group I've been created here. And in this web server group, I have host is one IP 192.168.0.67. And I'm going to communicate this server in a moment, like writing a sample playbook and executing it on this control host, right? So this is the bit how you are going to set up Ansible on Windows subsystem Linux using Ubuntu. And I think you can do this using win command as well, and Windows directly without using this Windows subsystem. But this is very smoother way of installing Ansible on Ubuntu, because it's an open source IT engine, can be installed very easily on Linux distributed version like your Ubuntu, right? And the coming sessions will start like creating sample playbooks and running playbooks over the remote host. Here, the remote host was a web server 192.168.0.67. From the local control machine is same machine from the Windows command prompt. So as I mentioned, this is going to be connecting through SSH secure shell, a protocol. Like, let me show you like how it is connecting. If you go and see here my command prompt, this is where my remote machine is. This is my remote machine. If I go on here, look at here, I have a SSH folder which was already created under my username. It has some keys here, files here. If you type here, let me show you before this. You need to have open SSH folder here in Windows system, right? And right now I have that in C drive program files. This is where I have open SSH Windows, Win64 folder. It has all my relevant SSH commands here, right? So very instantly you need to download this open SSH from Google and copy it or install it on your Windows, right? So, and that can be installed on any folder, but right now it's installed on the Windows program files, right? So once you had it, so you will be having all this stuff, and you can generate SSH key using SSH keygen. Like if I type here SSH keygen, if you are a newly installed this, it is going to generate a new SSH key, that is a ciphertext key, which will be having the encoded stuff and having secret stuff to establish a connection between your remote machine and a control machine. That same key you need to share between these two machines. That means you have to copy the same key to the control machine, which right now we have on Ubuntu, right? So I have already having this SSH key, and it is asking to override it. I'm saying no. Let me go back to my user folder. and see like what is the key I have right now in my remote machine. Zero users, and this is my username, right? And cd.ssh, and these are the files I have. And type id id rsj dot public. So this is my key. I have it in my remote machine. So this is my remote machine, or the managed host or Ansible host, which is having this SSH key with RSA, right? Okay. Now, so I need to share this key to a Ubuntu server, or you just copy this into that server, and that way it is communicating, right? So I'm go back to here, Ansible, right? So I'm going to think I have a sample YAML file. So let me show you. This is my sample YAML file. So we'll talk about YAML file and the syntax stuff in the coming sessions. So right now I have YAML file here. Host colon, this is the model name of Ansible. I'm mentioning all, that way it is looking at all groups. Right now I have only one group, is web server, and task, this is another model, and this I have a name called, create a file called a so-called file. I'm going to create it with the content hello world. So I'll hello world beer or something, and destination path I mentioned it, this one. Just copy this, right? How to execute this particular hello world file, right? So there is a command called Ansible playbook, and you say inventory file, that is -i and inventory file, and then say your YAML file, right? So when I run this, it is going to start running or playing your YAML book. I think it's showing a message because unreachable, because your host or this control node or control machine is not able to connect to this particular remote host to make sure host can be reached, right? So once you set up this, as I mentioned here, now OpenSSH, you need to start the service and the remote host. Go to services, right? And here you need to start OpenSSH. So already it will having OpenSSH server. Just start running this. Once you start this running, it will have open the kind of provisions to access communication or provision the communicating control machine and remote machine, right? And go back to your Ubuntu and just run this same command here. Now let us see like how it is running. Now playing all, and task was gathering facts, and it's looking at the task. Yeah, done. This was created. Go back to your C drive and see like what was created in this file. And this is my remote machine. I went here, it was created right now, just and open this. Hello world BRR. This was created with this particular content what you mentioned in the hello world YAML, right? This is how it is going to execute a task on remote machine from the control machine or from the central location. This is where the location right now I have, and I'll do all the automated tasks to the remote machines, which I'm going to mention it in the inventory file. Okay, so this is all about how to set up an Ansible and Ubuntu machine, and how to create an inventory file, and how to execute a sample YAML file using OpenSSH. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and we'll have more sessions on this Ansible in the coming days, coming sessions. Please subscribe this channel for more videos on this Ansible. Thank you.